Hey everybody, this is Rob from Newbie Thrift, and this week's episode is going to be all about games. Let's get into it. Now, you guys didn't really think I was going to be playing Dance Central or Just Dance, right? Just don't look at my Facebook page from like 3 years ago. No, I actually buy those games to resell on eBay, and I picked up all 4 of those games at Goodwill for generally about $2 each. So what I wanted to do is go through a number of things to show you how I clean them up, how I try to remove the scratches, and test them. Alright, so the first thing that we do is disinfect the games because we got them at Goodwill and we're not quite sure where they've been. So we want to get rid of all that COVID stuff and other gunk. So I just use these disinfecting wipes. I got them at Walmart. They're called 7th generation, I believe, but you can use any type of Clorox wipes or whatever. So here we've got Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I'm just going to do a quick wipe here. Try to make it nice and clean and shiny. And you want to get all the creases. You want to get all the little nooks and crannies because you never know what you can find in there. You also want to remove any excess stickers you might find on the outside, just to make it look pretty. When you check the inside, you want to remove the manuals and such, and I usually just set those aside. Make sure they're in good shape. And then you want to check the disc. In this case, this disc was in really bad shape. You can see on there that there's scratches on both sides, even on the top. So we're going to have to try to use my resurfacing machine to fix it up. A lot of times if you have scratches on the top of the disc, that's bad because the data sits right under that disc label. The side that's shiny is really just a layer of plastic that you can actually sand to make look pretty, but if there's deep scratches, that will get into the data layer, which is just below the label. So if you get a disc from Goodwill and there's scratches on the top, like this one here, there's a good chance it probably won't work. In this case, I took a chance. So here I am removing the label, that's the outside label. Just like to get in there, do a little wiping, make sure there's no dust in there. Really just try to make it look as good as possible to help us make a little bit more money on eBay. You always want to use a microfiber cloth when you're wiping that glossy side of the disc because a paper towel will scratch it. So now let's go to the resurfacing machine. Alright, so now we're at my JFJ Easy Pro resurfacing machine. And this is a machine that I got off Amazon. I want to say it was about 120 bucks. And I got the version that came with all the extra buffing pads. I think it came with extra, maybe like 6 extra buffing pads, which I find to be a way better value because we go through those a lot. So here, I put the disc on there, put the clamp on there, added the little buffing pad, put a little squirt of water on there. I think like 4 squirts works pretty good. And then 4 drops of the Megiar's Ultimate Compound. Use a spoon to spread that out on there. Close it down, and 2 minutes. So the next step is to put the second buffing pad on, which you need to keep them separately because there's 2 different solutions that you need to use when you're buffing a disc. I actually use this Megiar's Compound and the Megiar's Polish just because it's a larger container and it's much cheaper to get. The machine does give you some solutions to come with it, but they run out really fast, so you're going to want to buy something else in more bulk. So that's what I use. So here I am adding the polish to the second buffing pad. You don't want to mix them up, one for compound, one for polish. And I put about 4 drops on, spread it out with the spoon, and then I spin it for 1 minute. Okay, so after 1 minute, our buffing is done. We're going to remove the disc and check it out, see if it looks any better. In this case, this disc still had scratches on it, but I was going to try it out anyway. The scratches were so deep on this one that I didn't have high hopes. So I just put a couple drops of water on it at the end and wipe it with a microfiber cloth until it's shiny and as new as possible. In this case, this disc was basically a lost cause. So let's go test it out on the machine. Alright, so we're going to throw this into our PlayStation 3 and see what we get. So it actually did read the disc for a moment, and then it just went to a black screen. So I waited about, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes and nothing ever came up, which tells me that the scratches are too deep, and it turns out there were scratches on the top of the disc, and that is always bad for the disc to read the data. So this one's broken. Alright, as a last-ditch effort, I decided to sand this disc. This is always a rare circumstance where you might be able to sand some of the plastic off the disc so that the scratches aren't as deep, but if the scratches are from the top or they're so deep that they cut into the data layer, it's not going to work. In this case, I just wanted to try this one time before I threw out this disc. So I put the sanding disc in, added a little water, fired it up, and then, I don't know if you can see in the video, but the whole machine jumped up a little bit, and basically the disc shattered. You'll see in the close-up that the edges of the disc were so weak from scratches that a piece of it actually just came completely off. So that disc is in the trash. Not cool, man. Alright, let's try this again with an Xbox disc. This disc is pretty scratched up. I'm going to zoom in on some of the deeper scratches so you can take a look. And I'm really hoping that the machine will help this one out so that it'll look a lot nicer and actually play on the Xbox system. So we're just going to go through the whole process again, where we're adding 4 drops of the compound, spinning for 2 minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and add 4 drops of the polish and spin for 1 minute again. One thing I wanted to add is that spray bottle that I'm using. It's just filled with water. It's actually the bottle that came with the JFJ machine, but once it ran out of the special non-static cleaner or whatever it is they call it, I just added water and it works fine. Alright, let's take a look. It looks pretty good. I don't see any of those scratches that we saw before. So now all we have to do is bring it over to the Xbox and test it out. Alright guys, I've got one more tip for you here, and it's the dreaded sticker removal of games. As you can see, I'm struggling to get the sticker off of this Wii game. I work on it forever, trying to get all those little pieces off just so I can make it look good. And actually, I ended up tearing the plastic a little bit trying to get it all off. But Goo Gone is your friend. So what I should have done, which I've learned from this process, is just put some Goo Gone, on top of the sticker and let it soak in there for a while. Then, 5 minutes later, you can just peel that sticker right off. But if you just want, you got some residue or something, you can use Goo Gone to wipe it right off. I go through bottles of this. It's definitely your friend. And then after you apply the Goo Gone, you definitely want to wipe it off with Windex, because you don't want that Goo Gone residue, even though it smells kind of good. You definitely want to get that off of there to, make sure that it's okay for shipping. Alright guys, that's it for this week. I hope you had a great week. I hope you went thrifting and found a lot of good stuff. You can look forward to a lot more interesting content on our channel in the near future. We're going to try to do some interviews. We're going to try to show you what's worth money that you can pick up for cheap at thrift stores. And we're going to just really get into all the aspects of thrifting. So thank you for tuning into this video. Thanks for the huge response on our first video, which is almost up to 3,000 views already. So we would like to thank you for just watching 1 minute of the video. Please like and subscribe, because that's how we find out how we're really doing in this community. And I'm out.